Welcome, curious minds, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on, well, a really fascinating journey into the history of Kolkata, specifically its pre-18th century story.
That's right.
It's a city whose origins are maybe more complex and surprising than many of us realize.
Definitely.
We're going to unpack the sources you shared, challenge some, common ideas, and hopefully reveal the true multi-layered story of how this iconic city actually came together.
Yeah, because the usual story, the one often taught about Kolkata's founding, maybe crediting someone like Job Charnock solely, it's actually quite different from what historical records show, but even a pretty significant court ruling reveals. Our mission here really is to dig into why a court felt it had to step in and essentially reset the historical record for the city.
Okay.
We want to give you a richer, more accurate picture based directly on the material we have.
And that court ruling, wow. What a place to start. Let's dive into that. The 2003 Kolkata High Court Declaration. The court stated very clearly that Job Charnock should not be seen as the founder of Calcutta. I mean, that really flips the popular belief on its head, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And the court's findings, they were incredibly clear based on, well, a lot of historical evidence.
Okay.
They concluded that a, quote, highly civilized society and an important trading center were already thriving right there on the site of Calcutta, long before any British settlement.
Long before. Wow.
Yeah. And what's more, Kalighat was already a pretty significant religious center, mostly because of the Kali temple in the nearby village of Kalighat.
Right, the temple.
And interestingly, the sources show much earlier literary references. You've got Bipratis Pipilai's Manasa Mangala from way back in 1495.
1495.
And Abul Fazl's Ain Akbari from 1596. Both of them specifically mention the place.
So we're talking centuries of established life, culture, trade, before Charnock even shows up on the scene. That's a powerful counter-narrative.
Precisely. And it goes even deeper. Take the Sabarna Roy Choudhury family. The records show they were granted the Jagirdari, that's essentially a land grant with administrative rights for Kolkata by Emperor Jahangir, as early as 1608.
1608, so well before Charnock's arrival.
Exactly. And the court's report went on to highlight many other people and families who genuinely contributed to developing what we now know as Kolkata. People like Eyre, Goldsborough, Laxmakanta, Majumdar.
Also known as Laxmakanta Roy Choudhury, right, from that same family.
That's the one. And the Set Bisak families, the Sabarna Choudhurys themselves, it's a whole cast of characters.
Right.
And because of all this evidence, the court actually ordered government authorities to remove Charnock's name from textbooks, official documents, anywhere he was listed as the founder.
Okay, so the official record is now corrected. But, to really grasp the deep roots here, before the colonial era really took hold, we probably need to step back even further to an earlier, really significant urban center that existed long before Kolkata as we know it, Saptagram, or Sakan.
Yes, Saptagram.
Which was, about 60 kilometers upstream on the river Saraswati?
That's right, a Hooghly tributary. Saptagram was a crucial port. We're talking as early as the 9th or 10th centuries, a major hub for trade administration.
So a real center of activity.
Absolutely. Now, sadly, by the 17th century, that Saraswati River had silted up quite badly, which led to its decline.
Oh.
But its importance before then is undeniable. It was a key administrative center during Muhammad bin Tughlaq's reign around 1328.
Right.
And get this, the famous Moroccan scholar Ibn Battuta, he landed at Satgone Port in 1345.
Wow. Ibn Battuta was there.
He was. And we see it mentioned in literature, too, like Chaitanya Bhagavata from the 1530s or 40s, and Mukundaram's Chandimangal Kavya in 1574, plus several Portuguese voyages mention it between 1537 and 38. So clearly, it was on the map for early European traders as well.
It's amazing to picture this bustling hub sort of paving the way. And speaking of development, that Sabarna Roy Choudhury family, the one the court mentioned, they seem really central to the region's growth.
They really do.
Let's focus on Laxmakanta Roy Choudhury. He seems like a pivotal figure. Who exactly was he, and what was his impact?
Laxmakanta's story is pretty remarkable. Born around January 1570, he eventually became the revenue minister for Raja Basanta Ray of Jessore estate.
Jessore.
Jessore was one of Akbar's Baro Buyans. These were powerful regional chiefs or landlords.
Got it.
And his work, particularly with Pratapaditya, who was Basanta Ray's nephew, really helped Jessore prosper. Though there's a bit of drama there, Pratapaditya later murdered his uncle, which neither Laxmakanta nor Emperor Akbar apparently liked much.
Oh, okay. Intrigue.
Right. But importantly, Laxmikanta was the 22nd descendant of the Sabarna Roy Choudhury family, a lineage really deeply rooted in the region.
So a key administrator, definitely plugged into the regional power structures.
Yeah.
But what was his specific link to the area that became Kolkata?
That's where his legacy really takes shape. So when Emperor Jahangir sent Man Singh to Bengal in 1605, Man Singh specifically asked Laxmikanta to help get Bengal back on its feet, basically. And this led to Laxmikanta playing this huge role, sometimes even called the first social reformer of Kalighat. He administered his Jagir, his land grant, from 1608 to 1649.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, and he did a lot. He developed Sutaludi into this vibrant international trading post. You had Portuguese, Dutch, Armenians, all trading things like cotton yarn there.
So really fostering commerce.
Absolutely, and infrastructure, too. He built the very first Pukka road, a proper paved road from Halasar to Barisha, and a two-storied Kuchari Bari, an office building in Kalighat, right where the Writers' Building stands today.
Wow, right there. That's specific.
Exactly. And beyond buildings and trade, he introduced the first Saparivara Durga Puja, that's the family-oriented Durga Puja celebration in autumn at Barisha, way back in 1610.
1610, that's early.
It is.
Yeah.
And remarkably, he apparently clashed with the head of the Hindu Samaj at the time, Devibara, and managed to get polygamy banned in his domain.
Really? Banning polygamy back then. That's quite progressive.
It certainly stands out. He also donated a huge amount of land, 595 bihas, to the Mother Goddess Temple at Kalighat, developing it into a major pilgrimage site. It built on an existing holy spot there.
So enhancing the religious significance, too.
Right. And the present idol there, made of touchstone, created by Atmaram Brahmachari and Brahmananda Giri. And the Kalighat temple structure we see now was developed much later in 1809, but by the same Sabarna Roy Choudhury family.
Keeping it in the family, so to speak.
Exactly. And Kalighat's location was key, right at the mouth of the Adi Ganga, one of those Saraswati tributaries flowing into the Hooghly.
This paints such a vivid picture. A sophisticated, locally developed society thriving well before the British really cemented their presence.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just local development, was it? You mentioned traders, Portuguese, Dutch, Armenians. It sounds like the region was already a magnet, a real melting pot, long before British dominance.
Oh, absolutely. A hub of international commerce. Take the Armenians. They set up in Chinsura, late 16th century, mainly for jute trading.
Right, you mentioned Chinsura.
And later used Calcutta as a trading base. Their first church in the area, Holy Nazareth Church, was built in 1688 in Burra Bazaar. We even have Armenian tombstones dating back to 1630.
1630, wow.
Yeah, Miss Reza Bebo Sukia, and Sukia Street in Kolkata, named after Sukia's Bibi, known for her generosity. By 1715, Armenians were actually the largest community there.
The largest? That's significant.
It is, and their presence in India goes back even further. First church in Agra, 1562, invited by Emperor Akbar himself.
Akbar invited them.
Yep. Met a merchant named Hakov Jan, and you find Armenians in really high positions in the Mughal Empire. Akbar's wife, Mariam Begum Sahiba, the Chief Justice Abdul Hai, a lady doctor, Miss Juliana. They were known for being industrious, honest.
So deeply integrated. Okay, Armenians were key players. What about the Portuguese? Another major early European power in India.
The Portuguese definitely had an early and significant footprint. Afonso de Melo arrived at Satgaon. Remember Satgaon?
The earlier port.
Right. He arrived there with 5 ships, 100 men, back in 1533. Established a trading base. They even briefly backed the Sultan against Sher Shah Suri. But as we said, the Saraswati River silting up, that spelled trouble for Satgaon. Kali's Nala was its outlet.
Right.
This decline prompted Raja Gobindeshwaran Duda to actually move east and establish Gobindapur.
So that's the origin of Gobindapur.
Seems likely connected, yeah. Now, early 17th century, the Portuguese stronghold was really Goa. But a Venetian merchant, Cesar Federici, noted their trade around Bengal in 1578, rice, cloth, lacca, sugar.
So they were active in the region.
Very. Antonio Tavares founded Ugalam Hooghly in 1579. That was their first major settlement there. Then Bengal nearby with its church from 1599.
Okay.
Later, the Mughals seized Hooghly in 1632, but many Portuguese were allowed to resettle downstream at Kalighat. Michael Rodriguez was governor. They got involved in the salt trade by 1660. Shah Jahan even granted them land at Bandel.
So a long and complex Portuguese presence, too. And it wasn't just them or the British, right? Other Europeans were involved.
Precisely. You had the Danes, for instance. They set up an outpost at Serampore in 1698. Serampore itself was already a global trade and pilgrimage spot by the 14th century.
Serampore, too, okay.
Yeah. The Danes got kicked out briefly due to war with the Mughals, but returned in 1755. Traded silk, cotton, spices, indigo, saltpeter. By 1777, Serampore was the Danish monarchy's largest town.
Biggest Danish town, wow.
Yep. And then, of course, the French, Gendarmerie, or Ferrisdanga as it was known.
Right.
So Frenchman Duplessis bought land there in 1673-74. The French East India Company built a factory in 1688, and under Governor Dupleix around 1730, it really boomed. Over 2,000 brick houses were built.
2,000 houses, that's substantial.
It was a major center. But, rivalry with the British. Robert Clive captured it in 1757. It was given back in 1763, but then taken again by the British in 1794 during the Napoleonic Wars.
Okay, so a real tug of war there.
Yeah.
So with all this going on, this incredibly rich, diverse history, established communities, other European powers already present, where does Job Charnock fit back into the picture? We're revisiting him now, not as the founder, but as maybe a key figure in the British story here, whose role got perhaps a bit inflated over time.
That's exactly the crucial distinction to make. Charnock's story, when you see it in this, much broader context, is really that of an important East India Company official.
Okay.
He had postings all over at Rissa from 1633, Hooghly 1651, Kashim Bazar, Patna, became chief factor in 1664, famously married a Hindu wife in 1678.
Right.
His move to Sutanuti happened in December 1686. This was after conflict with the Mughal Nawab over customs duties. He decided to move the company's business downriver.
And how did he find Sutanuti?
His description was a low, swampy village of scattered huts.
Doesn't sound like a bustling metropolis yet.
Not from his perspective, no. He had to move again briefly to Hujuli, but returned to Sutanuti in late 1687 after a truce. He got formal permission for trade from Emperor Aurangzeb in 1690 and landed at Sutanuti on August 24th of that year.
August 24th, 1690. Often cited as the founding date.
Exactly, but based on everything else, it's more like the date the English East India Company formally established its base there. Charnock himself died in Kolkata just a few years later in 1693.
Okay.
He suffered personal loss there too. His wife Maria died. His son-in-law Charles Eyre later became chief of Bengal. So Charnock was definitely pivotal for the British East India Company's presence.
Right.
But he was operating within an already existing complex and diverse landscape, not founding something from scratch.
It's so clear that many, many players shaped this city.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned earlier, you can almost read this history in the city's layout, even in its street names today. What kind of insights do they offer? That's fascinating.
Oh, it's incredible. This is where history becomes like a living map on the ground. Kolkata's street names are amazing historical markers.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, okay, names like Sealda and Belagata, they actually tell you those areas were once islands surrounded by a salt lake.
Islands.
Yeah. Or Thanthanes suggests an area with hard soil. You can trace former forest areas through names ending in tala, like Nimtala for neem trees, or Banshtola for bamboo groves.
So the actual geography and landscape are preserved in the names.
Exactly. And pilgrimage centers, too. Names like Jurmatola or Panchanantola reflecting old places of worship.
Okay, so geography, spirituality. What about the people? The trades.
Ah, yes. After 1757, there was this guy, Holwell, who apparently organized the native population by their professions.
Oh, interesting.
And that gave us names like Kumartuli, that's the potter's quarter, Kolatola for oil pressers, Yilatola for fishermen, Dorjapara for tailors. It's like a map of the city's early economy.
Like a directory built into the streets.
Pretty much. And some names have darker stories. Fancy Lane opposite Rajpavan. The name sounds nice, but apparently it was lined with trees used for hangings.
Oh, grim.
Yeah. Then you have market areas, Sabjahata for vegetables, Amhati for mangoes, Chalpati for rice. Very practical.
Makes sense.
And areas with Bagan Bari, or garden houses, often named after owners. Bagan, Big B Bagan, Karana Bagan.
So personal histories, too.
Absolutely. There's even this great little anecdote from 1697 about a Captain Falcon needing an interpreter, a dobaz.
Uh-huh.
He was sent Ratan Dopa, who was actually a washerman. But this guy, Ratan, apparently picked up the language skills super fast, became a Dobashi, and supposedly became a Lakpoti, a millionaire in just days.
A millionaire washerman turned interpreter. That's quite a story.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Shows the kind of opportunities and shifts happening.
So this incredibly detailed history is right there, embedded in the urban landscape. And the city's broader development, how it was physically shaped, that reflects this layered history, too.
Indeed it does. Kolkata, gradually developed into these distinct white and black towns, as they were called.
Right, that separation.
And the white town had these really unique street patterns. Lots of winding lanes. You get names like Crooked Lane, Serpentine Lane, Zigzag Lane, even Corkscrew Lane.
Sounds confusing to navigate.
Probably was. And get this, to maintain the roads, they set up a lottery committee in 1791.
A lottery for roads.
Yeah, selling tickets for 50 sikataka. And the profits from this lottery, they were actually used to build the town hall.
The town hall was built with lottery money. That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? And you find other specific historical markers, too. Duel Lane in Alipore, that's where Warren Hastings fought a duel with Philip Francis.
Ah, that famous duel.
Exactly. Waterloo Street, Pretoria Street, and loads of lanes named after individuals, sometimes quite ordinary people, it seems, like Budu Ostagor, Gulu Ostagor, or various kansamas, which meant steward or cook, like Nimu kansama, Chuku kansama, Karenbox kansama.
It really brings the human element right down to the street level.
It absolutely does.
What a journey this has been. We've really peeled back the layers today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Moving far beyond that simple, single-founder narrative for Kolkata. This deep dive has clearly shown us that Kolkata's story is just so much richer, more complex, more layered than often taught. We've seen this pre-existing civilization, these diverse communities, this organic growth.
Absolutely. And if you think about the bigger picture here, it really encourages us, I think, to reflect on how deeply history is embedded in a place.
Right.
Even in something as seemingly everyday as a street name. It also shows how sometimes historical narratives get simplified, and they can obscure the complex, vibrant reality of the past.
Yeah, the messy, interesting reality.
Exactly. Maybe the true founding of a city isn't really a single event by a single person at all. Perhaps it's more of a continuous process, an evolution shaped by countless contributions from countless people over centuries.
That's a really powerful way to think about it.
And it leaves us with a question, doesn't it? For you, the listener, to maybe ponder what other cities out there might have similar hidden histories. Stories waiting beneath the surface, ready to challenge what we think we know about how they came to be.